Okay, great. Okay. So we'll use yours.
Just make sure you plug in the...
Yeah.
This is probably not the right way to do that, but I should also make sure to go to sound. And
Yeah.
make sure it's- Okay, I'm gonna-
I can start it.
Yeah, hold on, let's just to Scarlett. Scarlett, yours.
If you want to check, trust me.
You have to turn off my...
Computer, yeah.
Do you want me to do that?
So I'm gonna go to sleep. I can do it if you want. Energy. You don't have a screensaver. Never, never. Sure. Straight up.
I mean, how do you feel? Yeah, maybe open the slides.
That is pretty hard.
Yeah,
I was like, is it me? Because
Okay, hi everybody, thank you for your patience as we get all set up. I'm Sarah, I'm the Studies Project Coordinator. Studies Project is a monthly discussion series that is instigated by the artists. We have a fantastic group of artists here today. I'm really excited for this one. It's our first Studies Project of the season. We are always open to suggestions and proposals from the community for future studies projects. So if you have any ideas that you would like to bring to us, you're welcome to encourage any of the staff members, send us an email, give us a call. We would love to hear them. As always, thank you to Give Me Dance for hosting this event here. I'm very appreciative to have this space. We are audio recording and live streaming, which is partially why it took us a little bit longer to set up. So this is just to ensure that we can reach a broader audience. If you say anything throughout the discussion that you are not comfortable with, just talk to one of the staff members, and we're happy to strike that from the podcast that we'll put out later. It still will have been said, but it will not be recorded. I'll do my very best. We're going to try to wrap up around 7:45 because the elevator stopped running at 8. We will, so it's a lot of stairs to go down. So we'll make an announcement at 7:45 just to give you a heads up and let you know that that's happening. But we'll try to wind the discussion down around it. Finally, this is our merch table run by the lovely Jenny. And we have tote bags, some backorder PJs, current PJs which are free. The back orders are $5. Tote bags are $10. Also, you can sign up to be a friend of Bloomberg Research, $10. Our mailing list and performance journal subscriptions. And just talk to Jenny if you're interested in any of that. Okay, lastly, this is a free event. So we are always hoping for support from our community members. If you are able to donate anything at all, we are the most appreciative. Also, if you want to buy anything from the merch table, that is also another great way to really use that. So that's all right, so I'm going to turn it over to our panelists.
And just to start, maybe you want to give a little context. So this Landscape Thoughts working the Studies Project series, and this particular project was proposed to be live in the video. So just before we start going and introducing the panelists, give a little brief background of this.
So Levi put out an email asking for ideas, and I was, well, I spend a lot of time cooking in my kitchen, which is really small, and while I'm in there, I watch a lot of things on my iPad. I watch TV, mostly things that don't have are in foreign languages, so that I don't have to read subtitles, but that's like kind of my downtime when I don't fret about work. But I was, soon after I got Levi's email, I was standing in there one day doing something, and I was watching Twin Peaks, and there was a scene where people were entering the sheriff's office, and there was a conversation in the sheriff's office that was going on, and then somebody, after that had been going on for a while, some other people came in with some other kind of emergency, and interrupted that, and then there was something else that was like in the background going on also. After that, the conversation that had first been happening got kind of interrupted and was sort of left unfinished. And as I was watching that, I was thinking, God, thank God this is watching this show, because I watched all of the first season already, and I was somewhere into the second season. And I was just about to show something at Johnson like in the next week, and I realized that there was something about the way these events were kind of coming together and interrupting each other and coming to the fore and then retreating, that was the way that I was structuring the thing that I was just about to show. And I started to think about how, for some reason, like, I go to see a lot of choreography, a lot of dance, but that I really think that the viewing, all the viewing that I do, which is quite a lot, all different kinds of things, is really the thing that somehow always is coming into my work and sparking something. So I wrote for the email.
Why?
The next day. But yeah, and I just want to say, so well, I have other thoughts because after I started thinking through it, I was thinking about other things besides television. But I'm just really thankful to everybody who's agreed to be on the panel, moderating, and all of you for showing this conversation.
So what we're going to do today is we're first going to go through introducing ourselves, and then we'll come back to speaking a little bit more about why we're here and what we how we look at this topic. Okay, I'm Tere. I'm a choreographer. In New York for 30 years and working making dances, and I'm also a professor at the University of Illinois. And I have a project there for one semester every year. The rest of the time I'm in research situation with my company, which is our research.
I am Sonya Robbins. I'm one half of a performance making duo with my main partner here.
I'm Layla child.
The other half. And we have known each other for about 20 years as undergrads at Bard College, and have been in collaborative practice with one another for 11 years. Yeah.
I like hearing how you introduce, because I'm always like, what are we? Are we, sometimes we say choreographers, sometimes we say we make movement-based performance and video work, which we also do. So yeah, we'll get into the other parts.
So I'm Melinda. I'm a choreographer. I've originally from Los Angeles. I've been here for 14 years, and I make dances, installations, moves, recordings, and donation.
So I'm Ryan Hill. I am currently at the Yale University Art Gallery in the education programs there. But I have a past life as a performer as well as an artist. I mean, within this life that you share that past life.
I'm Larissa, Velez-Jackson, Brooklyn-based. I've been showing work since about 2006 in New York. I work definitely in interdisciplinary forms. I vocalize, I make some music. Definitely, I would say my primary work is as a choreographer. And was an artist.
So the next part is just kind of going more deep into the subject. It's a very exciting subject for me because I'll just say really quick history. I was in school as an actor, then I found the dance common for young gay men in New York. I became a dancer. I never really wanted to dance things. I wanted to be a choreographer. So I fell in love with dance really quickly, and then I really was like, wait a minute, there's some super sappy shit here. And so I've been kind of on the brink of attachment and detachment the whole time with my work, of like something that I love and some kind of critique that I need to launch with all the work I do inside of a kind of subterfuge of a concert dance. And at that point I had a boyfriend. I met someone from Italy, and I lived in Italy for the first 10 years of my life after I left college. And he was really into film, and we saw a lot of film, and it was a really good way for me to kind of exit some kind of really negative feelings I was having about dance history, and move in and get an understanding of the way image and internal engine operate. I was, seeing things like Antonioni, Pasolini, and all these kind of films that I had never seen before, understood, and I was starting to look at the way that the image is almost secondary to kind of the operation, the structure, many elements to talk about further. But I became really enamored of film, and it really led my work, much more than any dance did, to where it is the idea that the image is kind of a trickery, and there's some other motors that are going on that do something to the image, that are all ideas that I kind of extracted from my understanding of film. And I still am a really huge film fan. I really love it. It really speaks to me. And interestingly, it's a place where I can learn about abstraction through an understanding of how narrative was underlying the film and or delivery of the film. But it could be a parallel to understanding abstraction. The other thing that's really important for me is camera. I really think about rhythm as camera shot. Like if you can put something up there, down here, kind of this whole kind of like subterranean directing that the audience doesn't necessarily know about. So shots, medium, like opening the eyes like this, all these kind of things that are really exerting pressure on the narrative in excellent film that I could kind of somehow make parallels for in the actual crafting of the works that could move towards the production of media.
Well, I think for us, I almost feel like there is dual strands to this question in our work because we have a body of work that is for the stage or site or its performance space, and then we also have a body of work that is built for video. So in the early chapter of Robbins, we were exclusively making performances, and I do think that those performances were very much informed by film. We were also very influenced by image, and
We were in a Mulholland Drive chapter for a while, right?
Yeah. I mean, and I think you said it so beautifully, like the way that narrative can be fractured out through, especially with a filmmaker like which is sort of mobility or storytelling. So we in our early chapter tried to sort of use our
And a lot of cinematic atmosphere. I feel like we were into strange, especially in that Lynch way of like the overlapping of different times happening at one time.
And then I think as we became more interested in making work for video, we also started to go see video art. And there's a visual artist named Catherine Sullivan who I don't know if anybody is familiar with her work. She's amazing. Yeah, and I don't want to say her work is like Lynch, but there's like multiple hints of an art and happening throughout the
I think in the way that we are a duo, so much of how we process is through conversing. So I feel like as abstract as sometimes we lean, there's still this kind of like conversation and narrative that we're building that is derailed by the two of us. So in a sense, there's like not one vision, but the two, and so we're constantly kind of cutting each other off. And I think that that gets more into the TV like thing. Like we'll sort of like as a pastime we'll like retell a Seinfeld episode to each other, and it's just like
a process.
Yeah, it's like hard. It's like we'll like go through each of the parts and then, and it's like all of those characters are basically having their subjective take of kind of one time and one they're sharing an experience. So I think that's been a big influence for us, and then I think like the humor of some of that has been something that we're simpatico with. I don't know that we're influenced by that, but I feel like it's like a job.
We also
so there's like the high and the low.
Yes, for sure.
Like there's like the ooh, it's beautiful.
We made a piece quite a number of years ago now called Sonya camping, which was really like a huge homage to a chapter that film called Sonya.
We can get into that.
Yeah, we could write it in one. So that was like, I feel like a place where in our practice, performance, video making, and somebody else's filmmaking.
And we had started the piece and then started the film partway through, and then we're like, oh, like, and then it sort of became this kind of glue to the whole piece for us structurally. So yeah, there's some other influences too.
I'm actually not that good. I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. But after I was thinking about this composition, I was thinking about the touchstones that I do have, and one of like the early aha moments is sort of in the dark. And a lot of the early work that I did was site-specific work, so I'm always thinking about things that roots within a space, a kind of site-specific, and I think that there's something about the location aspect of film that really is helpful for me to work out spatial relationships, and in that the first sort of the dark kind of loop for me was that I saw in these movies this thing where like some action was sort of taking place on camera, and I've done a lot of pieces where there's something that's happening somewhere else, and you know that there's something happening. I'm going to constructing something from the late 90s. I'm looking at that has a set that has a doorway. So something like that, where there's a doorway, there's a lot of stuff that's happening behind the doorway, and you know that's happening. But you're not quite clear what's going on there. Like I'm really interested in that something. And then also, more recently, in the last dance that I did a couple of years ago, there's a moment in that dance that is my favorite moment, and it really relates to this sort of thing, where there's one person very, very far down stage that's kind of going across the front of the stage and really literally blocking people's view as she goes across the stage. But in the back is sort of my favorite moment from the dance. It's a really super complicated trio. And and suddenly her being so far downstage that it was really distance. And as I was preparing for this, I started to look at an amazing film. It's one of my favorite films. There's so many things happening in it. And I realized, because lately I've been really interested in westerns, that this movie is kind of a western. And that the thing that happens in westerns is that all of the action is kind of in the periphery. And that also, I love that film because of the insane art actions, insane escalation, like immediate escalation of everything that happens. And basically from like the altercations that the motorists are having with each other to there's a description of sex, kind of dream, scene, thing, and everything immediately gets to like a very intense place right away. And so that like spatial situation, the peripheries of the space, the really important things. In this last dance, like there's a lot of things that are super complicated that we learn somehow like these art fashions. And the other thing that is like very much known is show me that. This is like my hobby. That's on his notes on cinema. Cinema conflict. Like the cinema conflict. As he distinguishes that from cinema. But watching his films, and the way he works with actors, and the huge influence in the way that in that he is really, like, he works with a lot of people who are trained actors. So he was very interested in subverting the idea of the actor performance. And by working with trained actors, he was actually able to be very precise in his direction with them, which was really interesting with him. And so, there's something I feel like I'm working towards, which he achieved, which is a very naturalistic type of performance that is achieved through tremendous amount of people. So, yeah, that's it.
I'm excited to be holding down the fort for TV. TV. I, interestingly enough, and I haven't figured out why, but I almost count back with the films. They make me want to make films or something, and then I get something happens. Or also, I end up, there's a time requirement, like I have to sit and pay this much attention, that when I do it, I enjoy it, but I never got to. So it kind of brings me to the way entertainment and media, I feel like, relates to what I create is something that's super important about collective context. So live television has something about it for me where in an instant you can have a context with many people that's really cool. So this, I guess I'm going to try that you were connected to one day I'm really excited to read that way and watch it.
I never even discussed this.
So live television. Live television contains a whole. Right. Okay, so coming back to my word for a second, let's say a word that comes up for me a lot, I think it's a word that's also like everywhere in certain contemporaries, but this voice is fair. And I feel like there's this moment where I also feel like there's a clear failure, and those two things are going to come together and think. As someone who is very invested in alternative means for creating comedy, I'm deeply attached to failure. I feel like I'm coming at it with a much older lens of films like old black and white films like the Tere use the recipe and very relaxed. Also, so these were people that actually were my very first inspiration for dancing. So let's say I have this history of like pouring over those films throughout all the time. And feeling like I want to come to dance from a very specific palette and a music level. So, and somehow I think that's inside of my body. And I'm not ever necessarily trying to make comedy, but creating a scenario where comedy will work, and that's a great thing. So the failure comes in because I feel like there's this moment to it always approaching either a computational moment or performance or the thing I'm making, I feel like almost losing out my pain. This expectation that's around the dancer, our histories, what we're supposed to look like, what we're supposed to be able to do, is so heavy and so sad to me that like this is the start of the movement, and somehow, you know, the road doesn't have much to do that. Now, there's this form that we're in, which is a very small community, let's say. You know, it's large, but it's also very small. And I like to think about that, you know, what is this kind of, this work we're making in a bit of an undervisible arena. I somehow feel like I can end at home, I'm like watching things where like a million people are present or something. So it sort of starts this context of like, I'm doing this thing that speaks to just folks in this room, maybe just 50 people in this room, speaking very specifically to this concept that they know, and that's also somehow sitting against, or very much in relation to the greater population. There's always this. And I feel like somehow in the improvisation structure that it actually is very much deterrent to me. I get even though I would say I create conversation very open, I still actually want to as much control and framing it as possible. And I find that conflict relates to somehow improving the shared context for everyone. So I always have, I feel like I've always been starting with a monologue, in a moment to directly address everyone, collect everyone together, and really describe the thing that's going to happen, like kind of impose this shared context. And then, and as the thing is happening, as the movement is happening, that the person is leaving themselves defines what it is verbally, or someone from the outside defines it, so that even as this thing is open, it's always important. And something about that to me is finding ways that not having this shared.
So just to open that up, maybe talk about how film has created a frame for practice differently, but also the idea of that frame of that camera lens. Because it's a photograph, and yet you all know that well, you do it in film. But how does that kind of translate? I think it has to go together with another really important other. And the fact that, I mean, I remember seeing the other film, I read it, I think it's about Larissa, it speaks about a huge head and a field. fine with having a close-up and then a scene that's like that, and the speed with which that happens is something that I give myself a freedom of that, because there is no denotation in that. People impose some on it, but there really isn't any. So it's very fluid, and the structure of what's going on is where the kind of control mechanism is. So to look at things like saying, I am going to make a change here in the timing of this thing, and people will go with it because some part of us knows that that can happen in a dream world where you just think you're on a cliff and you fall down and you're having to back up with your mother. So yeah.
So for me, it's independent in the audience has that same vocabulary and vocabulary to
I'm thinking that one of the things that I trust about cancer, what I'm working with is that it's completely about itself. It doesn't have anything to do with the imagery, it doesn't have anything to do with proclamations of it. That it's a shared space that we can inhabit together. And what I may be able to do as director is send people on a temporal journey that kind of does something kinetic to them and kind of dislodges memory that can be projected onto the field of
Well, I can't expect you to. But I think he's like getting to a real meat of our process, which is related to editing, related to timing, and like finding some innate sort of gut feeling about your material, whether it's say from editing or whether it's collaborators. Yeah, and I love getting into
Well, I think in some cases, like in this one film, especially myself, called Holy Girl, that there's something about the indistinguishability between event and atmosphere that in certain films is so incredible. So there's a setup in that film, there's a constant of scenario, this family, that family, a bunch of different narratives. And the end of it is two girls floating in a pool, and that just goes on for a really long time. And you've entered it as another element of a cumulative narrative, but then it doesn't do that anymore. So the whole narrative unravels in your head, and something is happening, and it's completely trying to bend set up. So, I mean, I try to deal with, it is manipulative. I will try to imitate or bring up certain common structures that are in the world of film and embed them in my work, so that maybe it would do something to other people's minds that a film has done to them. I mean, that's not something that I'm proving or that I care about proving, whether it works or not, but it is where I work, because I'm not working with symbolic imagery at all. With imagery, it could be many things, and it would work similarly on that. Holy Girl, the Holy Girl.
The question is the idea of that film photograph and how that idea of the lens, the timing, work with your work, and then the second part of that too is exactly because the audience, you're playing off the film language, the audience already knows when you're watching.
I think that I'm really interested in and I'm really aware what, like, how I'm allowing the work to like information work by the focus that's going on between and I think that there's something similar to the thing that I'm interested in, similar to a film where it's very into film showing where somebody that is lessons is actually converted in. So by not having a great presentation on dance, I'm allowing the audience to have a similar relationship to what they're doing, which is a more and also recently I've been doing some experiments and I realized that I have something I'm doing right now. I have the dancer sometimes coming down stage to the front of the stage and then out of the stage. And then it's very similar to the kind of point of view that by placing her there and looking into this area, that it's a similar, I relate to her as I would to a person in the film and what they're seeing in the film. And to becomes my standard for the week. So, yes, I agree. Like you are looking people, the outside eye.
But in some ways, is always at least when you see it represented in film, it's usually a long time from the audience, so it's basically a foreshadow of long time. When you put out things like close-ups or in a different kind of shots, that implies different, how does that impact the movie?
Well, for me, that means that I might have, and it also has to do with like temporality and what's been going on. Because suddenly I'm saying, I've made a landscape, so you're looking at it as landscape, and then it changes rhythmically, so only these people are doing something. And what they're doing may be concentrated from here to here. So that you just kind of go in and you bring the language of the camera with you, and you navigate the work that my work, and a lot of work that's postmodern, is working then more than one, like it de-emphasizes centrality. So you have to kind of create a camera in with the audience. So that's something that I'm doing a lot. And the other thing is, rhythm is camera. I think it's all work. It's really kind of not spoken about that, but most work in your rhythm, velocity, almost all work. And that can be camera. That you go from something fast to something slow. And the beauty of like certain films where the atmosphere and the scene before it is just kind of like resonating with the scene that you're going with because of time. And then the layering of that. That I work with a lot.
See that. Everyone's like doing something that's just so edited so quickly away from that you're carrying that last bit into the next bit. So it's like that's really exciting.
That's actually something from film that really knows me. There's the kind of the drama of constant loss of imagery that, is, of course, wrapped with the narrative in it.
I was just going to say, how is narrative kind of working? It's going to have something to see narrative in a different way, or because a lot of what you're talking about is people who experiment more jump cuts, displacement in time and space, or fragments. But I'm wondering, loses a little bit.
Yes and no. In some ways, the narrative of reality television there was a period of time where even, let's say, when some of those competitions were first cut, like they were in their first season, there was something really announcing to the artists, the weight of the artist's experience, the weight of something that presented something, and whether the artist, whether or not something would take its life and continue or not, the heightened made choices so heightened, and I ended up being very drawn to reality television shows where someone has their own moment to stand for everyone agrees with everyone. This whole and the mechanism around how the treatment around how all of that is carried out, the treatment. So and definitely those formats played themselves out in my work. But for me, there's something about and you're feeling coming up to that and embrace that. So it's actually really feeling based. And how vulnerabilizing that can be, and that is like the basis of how much. In a newer project that I had created with my husband, a band, a art pop band, and when we first showed our whole band was that we were like big stars, and we were like there, and we're filming at 20 of our, our 30 people who were like not so into it, and this was very, this was actually, I was kind of like, this is it. This is the emotion. This is happening. This is not and now it's sitting up against the lounge, and then you finally like, you know, 20 minutes in, like, wait, everybody got it. It didn't come in. Then it was like, okay, we did it. You know, so somehow I'm after the thing that I learned from this.
When you're speaking, you're making me think of like webinars and forums and that idea that the audience is part of the pressure of the audience. But also in some ways when you talk about film, I'm also talking about kind of distance and so which do you enjoy? Do you enjoy the emotional moments of the films? But I don't really go I would enjoy that sense of some directors are intellectually kind of a little bit. They create structure so that there's a movement function there. And then there's other directors, that are just like in there.
Well, the first thing I want to say is divide this up between film and television. Like,
Yeah,
I appreciate high and low film and a lot of television. I think the road to intro is one of the most ever. The way that tragedy and comedy, like, I broke one each other up, was really incredible, very, very well wrought, and other shows like that. So I don't have a high low connect. You'll see a lot of shows of all kinds. So, and I don't necessarily think that's the correct binary. That people only do structure or immersion. I think people mix those things as well.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah. No.
I think we're very, I think we like parse through a lot of the emotional relationships inside of the stories in films, and like in the usually the voting film. So the title of the movie is a translation of, I don't speak great French, but I guess it's like an idiom or expression to go what it is to get lost in a story. So we were like, that's kind of what our whole structure was for the particular piece, was we were making a piece about making a piece and about making a piece together and walking each other through our doubts of making a piece. And so it's sort of like a creation story, and we sort of allude to God as though as non-believers or non-religious people, as sort of just like kind of a silly metaphor for finding inspiration. And so Sonya and Julie are two characters in this particular film that inside of the film they like they discover each other, and sort of first there's like a chase of one of them drops a book of magic and the other picks it up, and they're sort of like immediately in this story of magic together. So our like interpretation of magic is that that's sort of what theater is some sort of illusion. And so inside of their story, they like have this lozenge when they eat it, they like trip into this other world. It's not actually a trip, they just go to this weird house and there's this whole strange, creepy story that's just happening all the time inside of that house.
But they're like both the actors of their fantasy, but then it's interspersed shots of them watching the fantasy.
So they're both inside and outside of the fantasy, and then they can go inside of the creepy house and change the story. And meanwhile, do all the other things as well, and it's like a 3.5 hour long movie, but it's and like most of the really like sleep for part of the movie, like part of the same movie, which they come into their arcades.
That was like a serious thing. The movie looked good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you do those, when you come back and you just don't matter if you've missed something. It's all, there's no beginning or end, and it's very cyclical. And so we use that cycle of like, they kind of went back to the house to see this weird thing that was always in action. So it was like the house was going through the weird play over and over again. And in our sort of structure was this like, we revealed the process of like, you start something and then you try it again, and then you go a little further, and then you try it again, and you go a little further. So we used it as like a very direct structuring device and show our process, for better or for worse, of just like this cumulative conversation that we have in the process of thinking. So that was like a very direct relationship that we had to that film.
That was both narrative and also responding to that's.
Because I realized that that's like one of the things that was like a big thing with Chris, like, and that was a big part of it. It was like, it's so good, and I selected part of it. That was okay. It didn't seem to make any difference. It only made it better. Like, I enjoyed it to my grades. And that the last piece that I made happens to other durational parts of it, and I actually like thought it would be okay if it came to see. Like one of them was set up really top. It's like if somebody was asleep in the pot, it would have fulfilled.
Then I totally I didn't, but I did relax on that pot. And
Okay,
it was like it goes to murmuring sound. It's very blood stirring.
And the creative space, and it's like the creative space is like, how do you like this a good dissolve?
And it puts you off the hook as an audience too, that you don't constantly have to absorb it, that you have to process in your own way. Okay, I have enough. So that's a little bit, I'm back into it.
Well,
And that's how I feel like I mean, almost everyone I've ever talked about, like the best experience you've had watching dance, you're daydreaming for half of it. You know, it's not that you're not present, it's that it's immediately bringing you into your internal realm where you're like, yes, you know, and it's your riffing off of your internal riff and associative, non-verbal associative, like pleasure is personal, and then you're back in, and it's like, it's very fluid in that way. Like, I think that's and that kind of limbic, like other place you go, which is not a verbal place at all, and you know that you're seeing it, but you don't really, you can't really exactly say what it is, but it's a aha kind of
I
like.
didn't suggest a different kind of offer, it's not the self-explanatory. So this place that you're sharing, that some interface with their internal system.
It seems to be contributing to settings seems to be part of that as well. What the settings, that environment, I was thinking when I'm entering in those states, a lot of times I'm just looking at this when the sets are, or looking at like, oh, the car shop, now that I know that driveway. I think I know that driveway reminds me of something, and before I know it, another way of viewing the film, because people can inhabit that whole physical space is shot in, or that location. Do you all think of setting in a similar sort of way? Do you think of
Sight has been like historically very important to our process, and before we started making work for video, we did a lot of work either for installed environment on stage or site responsive work outside of theater spaces. And we worked in gallery and music, like I think wherever we use site use like a launch and performance space.
And probably for everybody, that you know where you're going to be looking to work for, you're looking to work for that space, and when you get to the piece again, then you have to like figure out how it's going to happen in the next place. And like, but I don't think for everybody, but I feel like I think so much part of it is in the whole space of consideration, whether you're going to create something on the stage or not, and just like the room and the size and how everyone's sitting there and the color of the spaces and all of that becomes obviously part of the participation work.
Is there something that you look for your sense of piece or like the stage about that environment? Is it have anything to do with films? Or lighting?
If you want to answer that, I want to go back to Steve.
Okay, what about
makes sense.
You can raise that.
I'm just getting to like how you do it. It doesn't, it's not really. I don't know.
Some things I was thinking about in relation to sleep and I actually, for someone who's interested in like thinking about space for failure, play actually for me, like I don't want to invite a disengagement. And I see very much the viewer and let's say I'm working within a conversation methodology, and I see like the viewer and the practitioner's intention as completely parallel to one another. And so sleep would be to me like that. Well, and also a complex thing.
Yeah.
It is, but I very much like in performance experience really, both in parallel between viewer and practitioner to like play, like you start with the play, and like all the things happen in the brain process. And for me, it's been the basis to create interdisciplinary exploration because as someone who is, I'm not like 20 and 5. So there comes a certain point where like after I move around for a certain amount of time, I get completely physically exhausted. And so like that's going done. But like immediately I'm gonna go from like the exhausted body to like the next thing. To like the singing about how exhausted. It's like just keeping play involved. And so really going into that as the basis for creating a product within myself as a solo practice, and I was thinking so much about the lens, and for us, when there's a trio doing this thing, it's like when two people retreat, it's so obvious all of a sudden, like the spotlight went on the one person, and it's palpable. And then what can happen, and then there's that moment that it's like depressing, like you're constantly saying, and you're able to move within, when the body's exhausted, song is exhausted itself. Play, you can retreat, and then someone else is just moving for their soul. So there's this, I feel like we're trying to create a system that has these aspects of this program based on it's all happening in the moment. And so yeah, so for me the sleeping is like absolutely going to whatever needs to be if it's even the most of the now and moment. Sometimes it's very decentralized by most of it. Like you feel like, barely it's like right before like the whole thing all year. Yeah. Well, maybe a little more than that. Yeah. So.
I wanted to say something about centering also, because one of the parallels between dance and choreography is creating a kind of imaginary space that is a very similar mind space. And one of the things they share in common is like a hallucination of architecture, like a constant renegotiation through shots of one room. Like every time the shot